Chapter 4. The next day, Rena and Dika began training again for their final test. This time, they learned how to control their minds. They practiced how to see through illusions and how to break free from mind control. They had to prepare well, because in this final test, they would face the pond deity, who had the power to manipulate thoughts and control the mind. Since the battle had always been between human and the pond deity, all the other gods and deities agreed to let the pond deity test the humans on her own. Then came the day of the final test. Everyone in the village prayed to the gods to protect Rena and Dika. The two young men stepped into the arena once again. From above, the villagers, the gods, and the deities all watched in silence. As soon as they arrived, the arena began to change. And suddenly, they found themselves standing in what looked exactly like their village. Suddenly, the village was covered in a thick fog. Rena and Dika shouted and called each other's names, but the mist was too dense, they couldn't see or find one another. Then, Rena saw someone who looked like Dika walking in front of him. He called out, "Dika!" Dika turned to look at him, but suddenly ran deeper into the fog without a word. On the other side, Dika also saw someone who looked like Rena. He called out to him again and again. But Rena only smiled and motioned for him to follow. So, Dika followed him. Without realizing it, both of them were slowly being led toward the deep well in the middle of the village. The villagers watching from above were frightened and began praying with all their hearts. Rena still believed he was following Dika. And Dika believed he was following Rena. But something didn't feel right. Rena paused and took a deep breath. He sat down and focused his mind, just as he had been trained. He cleared his thoughts, and suddenly saw the truth. There was no one in front of him. No Dika. No path. Just the deep well. At the same time, he noticed Dika moving closer to the well. Rena quickly got up and shouted, running toward him. He grabbed Dika just in time and pulled him away from the edge. They had both broken free from the illusion. But then, another shock came. Two people appeared out of the fog. They looked exactly like Rena and Dika. The one who looked like Rena stepped forward and said, "Don't trust him. I'm the real Rena. That one beside you is the fake." Then the fake Dika spoke. "I got lost in the mist. I've only just escaped. That one standing next to you is an illusion." Both Dika and Rena were confused. They didn't know what to do. So they decided. Whoever wins the fight will be the real one. Dika fought Dika, and Rena fought Rena. The battles were long and intense. Even the spectators couldn't tell which ones were real and which were fake. They just watched, hoping the real young men would win. Suddenly, Rena shouted to Dika, "Dika, do you remember how I used to tease you when we were kids?" Both answered at the same time, "Yes." Rena continued, "Then tell me, what did I used to do?" Again, both gave the same answer. "You used to hide while we played and scare me from behind." Rena thought for a moment, then asked, "What should we do if we catch the fake ones?" One of them said quickly, "Let's kill them." But the other one smiled and said calmly, "Let's hand them over to their owner." At that moment, Rena knew who the real Dika was. And Dika also realized who the real Rena was. Slowly, they joined forces and fought together, this time against the fake ones. After a fierce battle, they defeated them. The fake versions disappeared into thin air. Then, in front of them stood the pond deity. Without warning, she threw something at them, poison darts.
Both Rena and Dika were struck. The pond deity said coldly, "If you want to live, kill your friend. Then I will give the antidote." But the boys refused. Even as the poison began to take effect, they still refused to harm each other. Instead, they each tried to sacrifice themselves, hoping the other would survive. In the end, they both collapsed, unconscious. When they woke up, they found themselves in front of the gods and deities. They asked the gods, "What happened? Which one of us survived?" But when Rena and Dika saw each other alive, they were filled with joy. After witnessing their loyalty and willingness to die for each other, the pond deity was deeply moved. She stepped forward and said, "I see now, true friendship and pure hearts still exist. I will leave your village in peace." All the villagers rejoiced. The gods were pleased. From that day on, the village lived in harmony once again. Moral of the story: true friendship is built on love, loyalty, and sacrifice. Even in the face of fear, illusions, and death, those who stay true to one another will overcome anything. Kindness and courage can soften even the hardest of hearts and restore peace where there was once anger.